Hello and welcome to episode 61 of Your Ultimate Comeback. I'm your co-host, Brad Davidson. I'm here along with Raquel Perry. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Happy
Quitters Day.
Happy Quitters Day.
That's right.
This is the day that majority of people, like over 90% of people, have given up on their resolutions. We talked a little bit about last week.
Yes, we did. Yeah. But I haven't seen it slowing down just yet. Have you?
No, I feel like it's a weird cycle. It's just starting to pick up.
And I think that's because, as we talked about, the holidays were kind of a weird, being in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
So no one really went back to work until Monday of this week.
Yeah. And my Lord, I don't know what was in the air this week, but people were grumpy and irritable and strange. I'm like, whoa.
Everywhere or at the gym?
Kind of everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be like that after the holidays are over.
I know, it's supposed to be
calm down.
Motivated.
Yeah.
But I can't remember who I was talking to about it. They said, oftentimes this time of year, people are, they set their resolutions. They really thought about their lives. A lot of people aren't happy with where they're at and they want to make extreme changes and they start doing crazy things.
Right.
And I could really see that this past week.
Yeah.
So out of
a lot of angst.
A lot of angst.
Among your peeps.
Yeah, I'm glad the weekend's about here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friday. We love Fridays.
Oh.
So good. Yeah. We do.
It's always my favorite part. We record every Friday at the end of the day. So I look so forward to this.
Because it's your sign that you get to take a breath.
Weekend. Yes.
I love it.
So,
I want to just say one thing for our viewers and listeners, that you are not my husband. I've had 2 people think you were so far.
So
and you know what? It's actually kind of a flex for me because you are 11 years my junior. So yay me if I can pull that still. But no, I am happily married to Matt Perry and not the other one, but
which will be a guest soon.
He will.
Which I'm super excited about.
He wants to come on.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought I would get that out of the way because someone was like kind of embarrassed. And I said, oh, don't be embarrassed. Not at all. But anyway, like I said, it's a flex.
I feel like we bicker more like brothers and sisters.
I agree. That's kind of how I feel too.
Bicker's a bad word. Banter.
Agree.
Yes.
Agree. And people always use that word. I hear that over and over when they talk about our sort of back and forth. They say, oh, I love the banter between you guys. It's so great. Like, yeah. We're good like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So interesting. You've been reading a new book that I'm actually really excited to hear about.
Yeah.
Because I saw that it came out. I'm a big fan of Mel Robbins.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again?
The Let Them Theory.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you and I both talked about reading books, picking them up, starting them. I'm really good at that. But as an aside, I was told, I think my daughter told me that an English teacher told her this, or maybe it was my mother-in-law, who's a very, very avid reader, said, if you pick up a book and you don't really jive with it and you aren't loving it, there's no rule that says you have to finish it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a freeing way of going, oh, okay. Then you go find one of those little free libraries that people have at their houses and you can tuck it in there and just be like whatever. But she talk about marketing genius is this woman is all over. You cannot be on the internet at all without seeing her in one of her clips or talking about something. And I just love her sort of, I don't want to say basic, but it is, just ways of handling situations. And this whole let them theory, it really got my attention because she was talking about, hey, if someone doesn't want to hang out with you, let them. If someone doesn't want to call you back, let them. And it just, to me, that is such a mind-blowing, simple way of looking at things, but so freeing.
Yeah.
And if you're like me, who's someone that can spin out about, why isn't this happening? Why they do this? These voices in your head about certain things, hearing that is so freeing. It's like literally having something lifted off your shoulders. Just, oh, okay. I don't have to worry about that shit. There's plenty of other things in this world, in our lives, that we can worry about other than what other people are doing, what other people think, all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, I've just kind of started it. I'm not that far into it, but I really loved. I did not know that she had come back from a big financial debt, real big.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that part was like, oh okay, and just what a go-getter.
Yeah.
And going after all the things, and she's younger than me. I want to say she's mid-50s, but now she's got endorsed by Oprah. So that's like the mega god, right?
Yeah.
If Oprah endorses you. So anyway, it's just, I like it. And do you have, or is this just me and I'm weird, which you can say yes, probably. But I have conversations with myself Do you have conversations with yourself?
I'm pretty sure we all do.
No, but literally, okay, I'm not going to let this bother me right now. Do you have that kind of conversation?
Yes.
Oh, you do? Okay, good. Whew. No,
Yeah.
I literally do. And have to talk myself off ledges. Well, sometimes I'll call you or text you and say, is this right or wrong or whatever. But just certain things, it's nice when, that's one reason that I feel like I do very well in therapy, because I want to be told ways of coping. I want to be given little, and I call them nuggets, that are takeaways that I can apply to my daily life.
Yeah.
And this may be why I'm spinning out. Well, let's look at why, but let's look at a way of handling that why. And when someone gives me that, it's like the biggest aha moment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm a talker. Like, I have to talk things through.
Mm-hmm.
The more, and it's funny, the more I talk about something, the more clarity I get on it.
Okay.
I've never been able to, like,
Is that with yourself or someone else?
with someone else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why therapy is so valuable to me,
Mm-hmm.
is I just need to talk it out.
Yes.
And I'm not the type to just like not talk about it, hold it in.
That's great.
Yeah. I have, but it's funny because I'll have the conversation like 5 or 6 times, the same
Sure,
topic, the same
sure,
conversation. And then I'll finally get to the point of, oh, there's the answer. That,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's what I need.
Yeah.
And then I'm fine. Then I don't have to talk about it anymore. But it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's weird or not, but that's always been me.
Yeah.
And then in between my conversations with people, that's when I have my conversations with myself,
Mm-hmm.
replaying things from different angles.
Right.
What if I would have done this? What if I would have said
Right.
that? What if,
Right.
oh, I should have done this. Oh, I should have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Or why did this happen?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm constantly talking to myself.
Right.
But
Yeah.
the thing I liked about that book I talked about last week, The Confident Mind,
Mm-hmm.
is I don't talk to myself in a positive manner.
Most of us don't.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the value lies,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
learning how to deposit
Right.
positive
Right.
deposits versus constant negative deposits.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I've been trying, since I've read that book, I've been really trying to focus on that. Like, at the end of the day, finding okay, what did I progress? And I talked about I can never remember the order of it. I think it's ESP, effort, success, and progress, or PS, whatever. So I've been trying to do that with myself. And it's kind of funny, like, the more I do it, the more positive my outlook is on a day-to-day basis since
Sure.
I've been doing it. I mean, I got a long ways to go, but I like that.
I
think there's a lot
Work in
of
progress.
I think there's a lot of value
Yeah.
in consciously making positive deposits for ourselves.
Of course. And our mind is so incredibly strong, right? That,
Oh, 100%.
when we give it tools to be, I mean, it's wild how we can, I'm going to use the word manifest, but we can manifest things to happen or not.
Yeah.
And it's just, and I think we kind of discount that,
Yeah.
our ability,
Yes.
to,
I think a lot of people think it's kind of woo-woo.
definitely.
Yeah, like, that's weird. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because our brains don't know the difference between reality
Yeah.
happening and
Yeah.
what we're seeing happening ourselves.
Yeah. Well, like you said in the story that you told last week about don't hit the golf ball in the lake or the water, right? And then you did. Yeah, it's crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
And there's so many examples like that that I can think of that are just, it's wacky, that it's so powerful. So how we speak to ourselves is very important.
Yeah.
That inner dialogue.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
To be doing those high fives in the mirror kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's not. It feels weird. It does feel kind of like, okay, really? But, I've always liked that statement that the longest relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself.
Yeah.
And it's so important because it bleeds onto everything else and every other relationship that you have.
Yeah.
It's not just the relationship with yourself. How you treat yourself is ultimately going to be kind of indicative of how you treat others.
Yeah.
Really.
But here's my thought is, why is that weird?
I don't know.
When beating the shit out of yourself is totally okay.
Well,
You
self-deprecate.
effing idiot. What the hell is wrong with you?
And when you're self-deprecating, people are like, "Oh, okay,
yeah, that's
people-
cool. That's
right,
normal.
Yeah, that's normal. Yeah,
But to speak positive of ourselves
Yeah.
is like
No.
a woo-woo weird thing.
Exactly.
That puzzles me.
yeah." And I don't know if it's because there have been certain people, and I'm sure you've met certain people like that too, that are so, I'm just all that. And I don't know if it's sort of a false sense that they put up, but people are really,
yeah.
put off by that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a definite difference between being, I don't know, be really over the top with that, and just having self-confidence and knowing your worth and knowing that, first of all, that every single person in the world isn't going to love you and like you.
Right.
That's okay. And, dealing with that. But to, making certain statements about yours, hey, I'm a good person. I'm a fit person. I'm well. I'm feeling that stuff even feels weird to say.
Yeah.
And why is that? Like you said, why is it? It's okay to go, God, I'm so fucking stupid. You know, I mean, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's normal.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And to look at ourselves in the mirror and tell ourselves that we're great, I love you, all that's considered weird.
Yep.
It's
Sadly.
just, I think there just needs to be a perspective of it's okay to do both.
Yeah.
And you want to water down, and it's okay to water down and start negating the negative self-talk.
Yeah.
There's enough of that in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so easy to find negative talk from other people on yourself. Woo, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard. Like I really try to focus on also being positive to other people, giving other people compliments.
That's what I mean.
Legit compliments.
Yeah. Like, that can make someone's day.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I love to you are such a badass.
Yeah.
Because that just like
people are like, whoa, their chest puffs up.
I remember the first time I said it to my daughter, I was like, honey, I just want you to know, like, you're a badass. She's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you're an absolute badass.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a powerful word to share with someone.
Absolutely.
When someone does something great, like, that's a powerful word.
Mm-hmm.
It'll stop people in their tracks.
Definitely.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I love that word.
Yeah. That's definitely true.
Yeah.
So.
My son on this topic said something very profound to me last night.
Okay.
We were driving after a football training, going to basketball practice, and he said, Dad,
Wait, did you just say from football practice directly to basketball practice?
He had a little training with a wide receiver guy.
I got you. Okay.
Loves him. His name is JT.
Okay.
If you have a child, a boy or girl that plays receiver, man, this gentleman, JT, he is so awesome.
That's great.
Kids just love him. If you want his information, just reach out through our Instagram, and I'll send you his contact number because he is phenomenal.
Oh, cool.
But so he went that, and then he had basketball practice.
Okay, got it.
And we're driving. He goes, Dad, you know what? He goes, you know who my favorite people are to be around? I'm like, who? He goes, the ones that just see me as Gavin. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, a lot of people see me as Gavin, the football player. And I don't want to just be a football player. And I said, buddy, that's profound. I said, I want you to remember this for the rest of your life. You are always Gavin, and Gavin makes up a lot of things.
Yes.
And Gavin just happens to love playing football.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, I was a baseball player, and I got to a point where that was my identity. I was Brad the baseball player. And every conversation was around baseball.
Yeah.
It all triggered around that. And then once baseball went away,
whoa. Right. Who am I now?
I had an identity crisis.
Yeah,
I got really depressed. Sure. I hid from the world. I hated it. Brad, how's baseball going? It's not. It's over.
Yeah.
So I said, always remember that. And I love that he's connecting, that he loves when people just see him as him versus him as something.
Right.
And I think a lot of people do that. They place their identity in something they're good at.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then their whole life revolves around that. Because I'm like, dude, you're Gavin. Okay, you're Gavin the football player.
Yeah.
You're Gavin the basketball player.
Yeah.
You're Gavin that loves to just be a great friend. You're Gavin that loves going to school.
Yeah.
You're so much. So there's Gavin, and then there's Gavin who loves to play football.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I needed to hear that. Because a lot of times I get stuck on Brad the trainer, the strength coach. And a lot of the conversations I have with people are all based around advice for how do I, food, supplements, training. It's very rare just around normal parts of life.
Sure.
Except for my close friends, they care less what I do.
Yeah.
So I thought that I needed to hear that. That was really good because I'm always trying to play into that subset of, okay, Brad the trainer, Brad the nutritionist, Brad the strength coach, because so much of my life revolves around that. But I thought that was pretty awesome.
That is.
Yeah.
Out of the mouths of babes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that he felt so much more comfortable in those realms where people don't care what he does. They just care about who he is.
Because there's not that great expectation.
Yes. There's no pressure on him. There's no expectation.
Right. He can just be himself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, there's going to be a lot of people in your life, but there are going to be those close people in your life that really care about you.
Yeah.
And they don't give a shit what you do.
Right.
They don't care what you play, what you do. They don't care what you're good at, what you're bad at. They just care about you.
Yeah.
So always keep that group tight. And then people are going to, come to you for other reasons as well.
Right.
And that's fine.
Right.
But you always have your tight group of people that just love Gavin for Gavin. those are always the most important people in your life.
Yeah.
So I also told him, I said, don't spend your time trying to impress the other people outside of that circle.
Yeah.
Because they're not really there because they love you. They're there for other reasons. Yeah. And, the more successful you get, the more you're going to have to deal with that.
Right.
So that small group of people is the most important. Don't waste your time trying to impress or make other people outside of that circle happy or like you're more valuable
catering to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that will just lead to a road of unhappiness. Because you can never make those people happy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to nitpick everything you do. They'll love you when you're great, and they'll hate you when you're bad.
Yeah, yeah.
The people close to you, they're not going to give a rat's ass either way.
Yeah. So Isabel wasn't in the car to hear that. I would have been curious to hear her thoughts on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how she feels about that.
Yeah. Well.
I love her to death. I got her a copy of that book.
Yeah.
And at first she's like, okay, Dad. Right, I'm like, honey, Quinn gave this to me. Quinn recommended it. Oh, okay, I'll read it now. I'm like, you little shit. Like, Quinn says it's okay, and you'll read it?
She's young. She's closer in age.
Well, and she really looks up to Quinn and nice. Sees the value in her. And but yeah, she's like, I'm slowly like dropping in little comments from the book on the positivity and so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see what she thinks about that.
Yeah, yeah. I would have been curious to have heard her response to him saying that, because if that would ring true for her as well. Yeah. She probably has never thought about it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Most of us probably don't.
Yeah.
That's a really, really amazing assessment by him.
Yeah, this little kid has been like the best mentor for me.
Oh,
because
I like that.
He sees things
in a different way.
In a very different way. And just talks about it.
Yeah.
Doesn't think about,
that's great.
Say this, is this weird? I'm thinking this. He's like, he just had the thought. He's like, Dad.
Yeah.
He does that a lot.
No, you're lucky.
Yeah, super lucky.
Be grateful for that relationship.
Yeah.
I talk about that all the time with my kids. I'm so grateful for the relationship I have with you both.
Yeah.
Because it's not always like that.
Yeah.
It's not always like that.
I feel super lucky. And with that comes the reality of, I got to be a great man to help influence this little mold I have. He's such a beautiful little soul that loves people and is emotional. And he's starting to get to that point of, I can tell he's upset. What's wrong? Nothing. I'm like, no, we don't. We talk about things. I don't want to. I'm like, no, that's not how we do it. And I don't know where that came from.
It comes from, that's what we do to all men.
Yeah.
I never noticed it more quickly than when my son was playing baseball.
Yeah.
That it was, hey, rub some dirt on it. Get back out there.
Yeah, suck it up.
You're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. And I don't want to blame that on men and dads, but it kind of is that. You know, they're saying, hey, you're fine, and they don't want the kid whining and wailing and running off the field. I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that stifles so much of men's emotions.
Yeah.
You have an experience like that, and you're taught that you can't feel the things.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
It is.
So. And it must be very apparent in the world for him to be picking it up.
Yeah.
Because I'm very aware of it and very we're talking about it.
Right.
I share with him when I'm struggling with things.
See, that is so huge, Brad, because that's one thing that I love about you, honestly, is that you are a man that there's no doubt that you're a manly man. No doubt. You're a stud. You're a manly man, yet you are not afraid of emotion. And that is such a beautiful thing.
Well, I saw it with my father. Because
it was modeled for you.
Well, yeah,
or the antithesis, you mean? Was modeled.
So I saw the antithesis until my dad's genetic disease took over and took away his body. And near the end of my dad's life, he couldn't physically do anything. He could literally feed himself and drink, but he couldn't get up on his own. Yeah. He couldn't do anything on his own. Right. And I watched him go from never showing emotion, never crying, never, talking about feelings, to I saw him cry more than I've ever seen him. The last 5 years of his life, I saw him cry more in that time than the whole. Wow. Yeah. I think I don't remember how old he was when he passed away, but I mean, the 30, 40, whatever, some years of my life. Yeah. And I remember him telling me, he's like, I got it wrong. He's like, I thought to share emotion, to show emotion, that's not being a man. He goes, I was wrong. Yeah. He goes, a real man will share emotion, tell people how he feels. Yeah. And I watched him use his words because all he had left to tell people what he thought of them, how he felt about them. Right. So I saw because of his experience.
Firsthand.
And for him to tell me that he was wrong, I mean, talk about a strong thing to have to do.
Right.
Like the way I thought you displayed being a man was this my whole life.
Right.
And I'm wrong. I was wrong. It's this. So I got pretty lucky with that.
Yeah. Because now you have the gift of carrying that forward and instilling that in your children.
Yes.
And your son especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as a man, like it's all about your physicality. Like
of course.
Be able to take care of things. You're tough. And he couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
All he had left were his words. And he realized those were the most powerful things he possessed. Yeah. Way more powerful and impactful in people's lives than anything he could do for them physically or, or protecting them, which I still think is important.
Of course.
But it was all stripped away from him. Yeah. And all he had was the root thing that I think is the most powerful thing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we only can do what we were taught.
Yeah, and what we saw.
Yeah, and so you can't ever. I mean, that's the thing with our parents and the things that they did. They did the best they could with what they knew. Yeah. And I don't know how old. Well, I could do math, but I'm not good at that. But my mom was 20 when she had me.
Yeah. And so my parents were 20, turning 21.
Yeah, same. Yeah. So that is when you think about that, isn't that mind blowing? Yeah. And how do you know anything? You know nothing.
You think you know everything.
Exactly. No, you do think you know everything. And it's just, and then adversely, I had my kids at 38 and 40. Yeah. So the flip side of that. Yeah. And I thought that was such a great thing. I mean, I'm sure there's a sweet spot in the middle there, but it's just you do with what you were taught and learned and modeled. That's typically what you're going to do. So no fault of your dad's that he did that, but how incredible that he was able to see that towards the end and say, no, this is what I want you to know.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best gifts he gave.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I was pretty impacted. I'm highly impacted by that.
Yeah. How could you not be?
Yeah.
How could you not be?
And it gave me freedom because I've always been more of an emotional type. Mm-hmm. And I always felt very weak because of that. Oh. And so he gave me a lot of freedom when he shared that. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is once he gave me that freedom, I started expressing it more and just sharing it more. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you like how many times I'd be on the stage speaking and I let my emotion get to me and people would be like, I connected with you so much at that point.
Absolutely.
And I was like, wow, this is really powerful.
It is.
It can be very manipulative, but when it's true and it's authentic, holy crap.
I think people can tell the difference.
I think they can too.
There's a, our spidey senses are pretty sharp. Yeah. We can, sniff out the BS. Yeah. So I think people can definitely tell when that's 100%. Real.
I think so too, for the most part.
I mean, I've cried in my classes many times.
Yeah.
And I, at first I thought, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. But no, then I've got someone holding my hand or rubbing my back. Or, I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. But you're right. People do connect with that. They see, they see a vulnerability and they're like, oh my gosh, I get that. I hear that person.
I think there's so much strength in vulnerability.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. For sure. That's why I love it.
Yeah. Didn't talk a whole lot about fitness today.
We didn't, but all this stuff is important.
Yeah, the mental emotional side was the side I always avoided. Yep. And I wish I would have spent more time on it when I was younger like I do now. Yeah. Developing it, understanding it. Man, it's the biggest game changer. Right. Mental mindset and emotional understanding and stability. So powerful.
Yeah. But I think that, like you said, when you're younger, we don't think about that stuff. We're invincible. We're going to live forever. None of that other stuff matters yet. There's so much that, I mean, even working out was for such a different reason for me before. And just, it's a strange place to be when you're young in your 20s or your 30s or even 40s. It seems so far off. Yeah. And I don't know. I always think about, I want to constantly be improving myself. Yeah. I don't want to be stagnant in my actions in how I present in the world. I want to constantly be improving myself. Yeah. And that doesn't have to be these big, huge things. It could just be little things that I'm, for me, when I do something well with, oh gosh, okay, I'm not flipping out about XYZ like I used to. Yeah. That was, just to go back to that Mel Robbins book, one thing that she's talking about in the beginning is her son going to his prom, his first prom, daughters had already done it. So she was well used to, oh gosh, you got to get the perfect dress and the corsage and where's the after party going to be and where's the dinner and where, all the things, and how girls are so methodical about planning all that stuff out. When her son did it, he let her know a few days before kind of thing. And just, there's no tux, there's no flowers, there's nothing. And how she just was going ape shit.
Yeah.
Somehow she got... they got the tux, they got these right tennis shoes that he wanted, the sneakers, whatever, all the things, and she got this really cool corsage for the girl. And he was saying, no, Mom, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want it. And she put it in her purse anyway, because she was thinking, he doesn't know. So fast forward to getting there where the pictures are going to be taken, and she's trying to thrust this corsage onto the girl, and the girl has already made her own kind of thing. So she feels like an idiot. But just that whole... Then it starts pouring rain, and the kid, and she's thinking, "Oh my God, where are you guys going to eat? There was no reservation." She's freaking out. They're going to get all drenched, and the new sneakers are ruined. And I related to that so much because that is me to a T.
Yeah.
Just flipping out about. I like to plan things. I like to. I knew what I was wearing to this podcast, Brad, a week ago. I'm not kidding. That's the kind of person I am. I want to have things planned out. I want to know. I don't like to wait till the last moment for anything. Yeah. When Quinn had a prom, a couple months ahead, I'm looking at dresses. No lie. So I related to that so much. But then that's kind of where the let them thing first came from. The daughter's like telling her, Mom, let them. They're going to get sopping wet. Let them. His sneakers are ruined. Let them. I'm like, oh my God. So true.
Yeah.
You got to just let people be.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know why I got back onto that tangent. We're bringing it full circle. That's what we're doing right here.
One thing I had to let go of kind of on that topic. This is totally off but on that topic, I used to get really stressed out. Like my kids' rooms, wouldn't be clean.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's forever.
Yeah. And they'd get home and they'd kind of just be lazy.
Yeah.
And it would stress me out.
Yeah.
And I had maybe it was in the therapy session, but I had the realization of, Brad, I must have been therapy. You have it pretty well. He goes, how much time do you have to focus on your kids' schoolwork? I'm like, I don't. They take care of it.
Yeah.
He's
That's
like, okay,
huge. That's huge.
Their extracurricular activities, are you begging them to go do that stuff? I'm like, no. They set that all up. They want to do it. They're really focused on it. He's like, so what the hell is the problem?
Right.
I'm like, well, the room. He goes, dude, would you rather have that problem?
Yeah.
Or they're all screwed up at school?
Yeah.
Or they're not in extra activities? You're dealing with drugs, alcohol?
Yep.
He's like, if they want to come home and be lazy because they're tired from how much they exerted, let them.
Let them.
It's their room. They're the ones that got to live in it.
Yeah.
Like,
we can close the door.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, such a great point.
Yeah.
I would much rather have
that set of issues for sure.
Versus doing bad in school, having, no drive in school, having no drive for extracurricular activities. That took a lot of stress off me.
Right.
I can just let them be now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to keep the door closed.
Yep.
So I don't see it.
Yep.
But because I need to be in kind of meticulous space. Like if I sit in my office to work and there's anything out of place, I got to put it all in the right place first.
Interesting. Okay.
Before I can focus on my work. If I'm laying in bed and a dresser drawer is open, I got to go shut the dresser drawer before I can fall asleep.
Okay.
So I got a little bit of OCD in me.
So you don't close. So you do. I mean, you close those cupboards, not like what we were talking about before. You close the cupboards. You're a cupboard closer.
If I'm trying to go to sleep in my bedroom and the dresser door is open, then I got to close it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't look tidy.
I don't know. I can't fall asleep with that thing open.
Okay.
It's super weird.
And you make your bed every morning, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm not
the
greatest.
You don't?
But I get out of bed at 4:30 and I have to leave by 5.
I'm shocked.
I'm not.
That's like the number one thing. Make your bed.
I can't.
Really? So just flip the sheets up.
Okay, get out of bed at 4:30 to leave your house by 5 and tell me.
I would still flip my sheets up. I would.
Oh, I'll flip them up, but I don't make it.
No, it probably wouldn't look perfect, but I would bring the, it wouldn't look like.
At that time in the morning, you're.
All bets are off.
All bets are off.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
I got to get my cup of coffee in. I got to get my clothes on. I got to brush my teeth.
Please get your clothes on.
I got to feed the dog.
I got you. Okay. Yeah. So how much time do you give yourself before your first client?
Well, my first client's at 5:15 in the morning.
Holy cow.
And I know it takes me exactly 12 minutes from my house to the gym. So
you have only 30 minutes from basically 33 minutes?
Yeah. I see all the time, like one of the greatest blessings in life is a quiet, slow morning. Yeah. I don't know what that's like, but it sounds dreamy.
Well, what if you got up at 4? Would that be horrendous?
I just can't
you
get
can't.
up that early.
Okay. I understand. Believe me.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, but I don't.
My problem is we don't get home at night from all the kids stuff until like 9, 8:30,
and then you're wired for sound.
And then I got to eat something and, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
I wish I could, but I wish I could be in bed by 8:30, but I can't.
What was your perfect, I may have asked you this before, but what would your perfect time to bed and time to wake be?
I know what it is. It's 11 to 7.
11 p.m.
11 p.m. to 7 a.m. is a perfect sleep cycle for me.
Okay.
There's a thing called chronotype. It's actually a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And how you figure it out is you go on vacation. It's got to be like 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go to bed and you got to stay kind of in the same time zone you live in. You got to limit caffeine intake. You can still have coffee in the morning, but you want to limit caffeine, limit alcohol for the time. Yeah. And just let yourself fall asleep when you're tired and let yourself wake up without an alarm. Yeah. And have nothing structured to get up for. Okay. And in the first few days, you'll sleep more, catch up on sleep debt. Mm-hmm. And by about day 4 or 5, you'll start finding when your body wants to go to bed and when it wants to wake up. Mine's always 11 to 7 on the Pacific in Pacific Coast.
Interesting.
Time. Yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't work well for my job of choice that I'm doing because if I'm not getting to the gym till 8 or 9, I've just missed 3 hours of clients.
And those are crucial times.
Crucial clients, yeah. That's when people really want to work out before work. Yeah. So it's rough on me that realm, but if I could sleep from 11 to 7 and start work at 9, that would be heavenly. I'd be in a much better version of myself. Yeah. Hopefully one day. Yeah. And after I sold my old gym Stark, and I didn't have anything planned after that. I was just speaking. Mm-hmm. So when I was home, I know how well I functioned with that. It was awesome. Yeah. Because I'd basically be on the road for a week, speaking, and home for a week. And when I was home for the week, it was epic.
Were you not training at that point?
I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just the speaking.
Just the speaking. Okay. In my buyout clause, I wasn't allowed to train people within a 20-mile radius of the gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So,
for how long?
I think it was 4 or 5 years. Yeah. Yeah. So, it was interesting.
Do you miss speaking engagements?
Not really.
Really?
No, I miss being on stage. Yeah. It's really exhilarating for me. Yeah. I love that.
I can imagine.
I don't miss the travel around.
Yeah, the grind of that.
Oh, man.
Because I think I met you when you were still on the tail end of it.
Yeah, when I met you, I was still speaking, but also starting to train again.
Yes.
Yeah. Because COVID came in and wiped out.
Of course.
I'll never forget it. I had 102 speaking engagements in 2020 on my schedule. And I still had, I'd done a bunch. I'd literally just come back from a week in Florida, speaking at the University of Florida. Mm-hmm. I still had like 90-some speaking engagements on my schedule. It was going to be a great year. Yeah. And boom. Yeah. It got knocked offline. I didn't speak for 18 months. That's why I went back to training clients. And I'm like, I don't know if this, and they told me, they were honest with me, like, we've canceled all your future events. Yeah. Because we don't know if this will ever come back. Yeah. And I tried doing Zoom in the beginning. Everybody hated Zoom. I hated Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. It's not the same.
No, you're watching your crowd and you're seeing them distracted. Yeah, yeah. But then I just kind of realized, like, wow, I really like being home. Yeah, yeah. So I haven't been on the road now for, what year is it? 2025? Yep. I stopped mid-2023.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I could remember you doing a few. Yeah. With your near-death experience. Maybe one of the last, right?
Yeah, up in Napa Valley. Yeah. That was crazy.
Remember that.
Yeah. I remember I had spoken in 49 states. I hadn't spoken in Maine yet. And I had a speaking engagement in Maine. And I was so excited. I had 3 events there in a week. And so I was up for 27 hours straight.
Yikes.
And had to get right on stage. Luckily, I was speaking at a huge coffee company back on the East Coast.
So they dialed you in.
And they literally took me in this room. They're like, have whatever you want. And they had every kind of caffeinated beverage you could imagine. Yeah. So I slammed some caffeine. I jumped on stage. I mean, it was the most horrific travel experience of my life. And I remember after that, I was like, I'm done. I'm never doing this again. Yeah. I mean, I was destroyed for weeks afterwards. I just couldn't catch back up. And so I came home and I called the agency I was speaking for. I'm like, look, I'm done. Like, cancel all my events. Wow. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. The last one, I mean, that was almost the death of me.
Yeah.
I mean, to be up for 27 hours because of plane cancellations
Yeah.
and then being forced. And before I had to drive 3 hours because they couldn't get me to my airport in time.
Yeah.
So I had to take a red eye to a different airport, and then it was a 3-hour drive to the airport.
Wow.
Not sleeping all night because I can't sleep on red eyes.
Yeah.
Thank God they had all that choice of caffeine there. But yeah, so I was
breathe some life into you for a moment.
Yeah, that was the reality of you're done with
you're
this.
Done. Yeah.
This isn't worth it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I miss being on stage, but I don't miss.
I would think that you could do a couple a year. No?
I probably could. Like I just scheduled one in March.
Oh, you did? Okay, now the truth comes out.
But it's a local one.
Okay.
So my rules are I'm not going to travel for it.
Okay.
And
what do you mean by plane?
By plane.
Okay,
yeah.
You'll drive.
Yeah, I might take one on the West Coast.
Okay.
There's a price point.
Here first, folks.
There's a price point that would get me on a plane to go.
Of course.
Yeah. So there's always that option.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty ridiculous price point. Like that I would be stupid not to go do it.
Yeah.
But so there is still that on the table. But
Okay.
I don't push for it. I don't market it anymore. I don't build that network. I don't connect in it anymore. So it just like this guy heard me speak 3 years ago and asked me to come speak to his company. I'm like, I'll do it, but here's the price. He's like, yeah, no problem.
You're like, wait, I really left money on the table, didn't I? Damn it.
You didn't even like scoff at it. Like most people hear that number like, yeah, we're out.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going to go do that one.
Sure.
Yeah. So every once in a while they'll fall in my lap.
Cool.
It's amazing how many people will connect with me years after hearing me speak.
See, you're making big imprints in people's lives, Brad.
I think it's just something happens in their life that connects with them, and they're like, "Oh my God, I remember when he talked about this." Which is usually like a breakdown.
Oh, great. And then they go, "I remember that guy that talked about that."
Yeah, like,
Could
oh
happen.
my God, I can't function anymore. What's wrong? I remember him telling me that if I didn't change, this was going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. So that's typically where that works. Well, awesome. I guess about time to wrap this up.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good
Once
rest
again, one of our really great ramblings and just going off about all different stuff.
These are kind of my favorite.
Are they? They're good. They're fun. Yeah.
Talk about really good stuff.
We do need to do a Q&A one soon, though. We need to have some people, Q&A would be fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's got to remember to post the option for
yes,
for questions.
Definitely. We could do it. All right.
Perfect. All right.
Thank
take care.
you.